little note before we even start the video. I forgot to press play or record on this camera up here that's showing the board. So I'm gonna try to like record a thing kind of somewhat showing what happened on the board, but I don't want to refilm the whole video. I already picked my TBR. This is a TBR game video, by the way. So yeah, we're gonna see how that turns out in the editing process. Apologies if it is a strange video. Hello everyone, I'm Kaylee Kathleen, and it is time for another TBR game, my second ever. I did a TBR game back in February, but it would have been posted in March because it was for my April TBR, and now I'm doing another one. I'm filming this in March for my June TBR. What can I say? I love having my TBR planned out far in advance. But this is a Candyland inspired TBR game if you missed the first one. Last time I used this little Crookshanks miniature pop vinyl as a game piece, so of course this time I'll be using Hermione. But yeah, let's just get right into the game. Don't need all the explanation because I did that in the first one. I'll link it in case you missed it. But on the first one, I did mess up at one point and not move the game piece to a corresponding square. Gonna try not to do that this time, although I don't think it affected the game very much, honestly. So our first card is, ooh, a double brown. Double to start out with. So brown and brown. Pink. Just zooming right along. Orange. So with these dot squares, I would take a book off of the TBR, but I have not drawn any books yet, so no books to take off the TBR. Orange again. Starting to worry, this one's not going to go as well as the last one. Red. Purple. Two oranges. Orange. Orange. Oh no. Purple. Okay. The first book that I need to pick is a fantasy book. So yeah, I'm gonna look at my TBR cart, the closet, see what fantasy book is calling to me right now. Or rather, in June. Once again, I could do Name of the Wind. Very ambitious fantasy there. On my cart here, I really kind of just have a Name of the Wind and the Night Circus, which I think is fantasy. I'm not quite sure if that's a fantasy or not. So I'm gonna check the closet real quick. Grim Lovelies, Wings of Fire, which would be if I were feeling in the mood for children's. We've got the whole Dresden Files, which I again think is fantasy. Ooh, the Cerulean is kind of intriguing and has a very pretty cover. Firekeeper's Daughter, Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Okay, we've got some good options here. I think my top three are kind of Name of the Wind, which is very long and ambitious, but I've been wanting to read it for quite a while, so that would be a good one. The Cerulean, which I feel like would be the most like kind of fun random one to give a try, or Wings of Fire if I am feeling a more children's fantasy. I think I'm gonna check and see how long Name of the Wind really is. It's really not that bad. It's only 700 pages. It is, however, pretty small type. But also it's a small book. I think I'm gonna go with Name of the Wind. I feel like it is time to get this one over with, find out whether or not I like it and whether or not I want to read the series. It's unfinished and seems like it might always be unfinished. So it'd be kind of nice to get the first book out of the way and find out if I'm even interested in investing in this or not. Okay, continuing on. This might be the only book on this TBR other than the Reader's Choice at the end. Blue. Two oranges. Orange. And yeah, ran out there. So now at the end of the game here, I feel like this game was very uneventful compared to the last one. I built this game intentionally in a way that I felt like I wouldn't ever get like too many books out of it because I only read like 3 or 4 books a month anyways, so if I was drawing more than that, it would be less likely that I'd actually even be able to accomplish the TBR within the month that it is TBRing for. But yeah, this second game was particularly uneventful. To be fair, my last game, I only got 2 books out of it as well, but if you watched that video, you know I got, like, I think 2 books and then a book taken away and then a book added, so there was at least a little bit more going on. Apologies for this somewhat boring TBR game. Hopefully next time I play, it's a little bit more eventful again. But yeah, we've got Name of the Wind, and now I get to do a reader's choice, which is always how this game is going to end. I wanted to include that at the end so that I know I'm always getting something that I'm really excited to read. So I'm gonna look at the TBR now and decide what the most exciting book is to me. Last time for this one, I picked Lunch in Paris, a book with recipes, because I was kind of excited by the idea of doing the recipes as I read the book, and maybe doing a reading vlog, we shall see. And at the time, I did also look at another book option that felt like it would have similar vibes. It was also a Paris book, so I think I'm probably going to go with that one. That way I'm reading these two somewhat close to each other. I'll be reading this one in April and that one in June. So that one is We'll Always Have Paris, and I definitely associate these two together in my mind, not just because they both have Paris in the title, but also I got them at the same time from a friend who was moving away. So I definitely was already associating these two in my mind from the moment that I got them, so it'll be nice reading them somewhat close together. So that is it for my June TBR. We've got We'll Always Have Paris and The Name of the Wind, which is only 2 books, but one of them is quite long, so these might really be the only 2 books I read in June. But like I've said, if I end up having time for more, I will have more books in June than just what the TBR game gave to me. Which, for the additional books, if I do ever get through the books the TBR game gave to me and have room for more that month, the plan is to just revert back to my usual TBR system, which had like a very specific order to it. So, but the TBR game is just kind of a fun way of shaking up the TBR system, because it is very rigid and sometimes it just makes me feel like I'm going through my TBR so slowly because of the books that will be sitting on there forever. So this is a way of kind of shaking it up, kind of pulling from other places in the TBR and just making it feel a little fresh. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching. Remember, words matter.